up, y'all? Welcome back to our channel. Several weeks ago, before our circumnavigation ever began, we were up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, doing a total haul out of our sailboat, Tela at Playboy Marina. In that video, my husband Sean told y'all that we would have a whole separate video on how to change the oil in our Volvo Penta D275 diesel engine.
And y'all, when we were literally waiting for all this here paint to dry, another thing we got accomplished, we got a complete engine service done on our Volvo Penta D275 diesel engine in Tela. We did a complete service on that Volvo Penta engine. We changed the oil filter, we changed the air filter, and we also changed the impeller. And we're gonna have another separate video for y'all doing a complete walkthrough of the whole engine service we done.
And today is the day, so we're gonna take you back to Playboy Marina and get that oil changed with my husband, Sean.
Hey y'all, here we are at Playboy Marina working our ever-living asses off during this haul out. We are moving from one project to the next. So today's project, what I'm going to be doing is doing a service on our Volvo Penta D275 engine. Now, for this engine service, we're going to be doing a few things. One of the things we're going to be doing is an oil service, and then we're going to be changing the impeller, and we're going to be changing the air filter. And I'll talk about those things in turn. So the service manual for our Volvo Penta D275 recommends an oil service every 12 months or 400 hours. Now, our engine currently has 937 engine hours on it, and the oil was just changed by the previous owner at 747 hours. So our engine oil only has 190 hours on it, not anywhere close to 400. However, a couple of things. One, as a previous airplane owner and having owned 8 airplanes, most of the aircraft engine manufacturers recommended service at every 50-hour intervals. And during the entire time that I was flying airplanes and owning airplanes, I always changed the airplane engine oil every 25 hours, and along with the filter. And I think that's cheap insurance and cheap maintenance to preserve your aircraft engine. I'm going to carry that same mentality into the sailing world. Even though we're only at 190 hours, that's approaching halfway of the manufacturer recommended time, we're going to change it now. In addition, the manual also says every 12 months. Now, our previous owner changed the oil on April the 15th last year of 2022. So another reason I'm going to go ahead and change this oil out, because as y'all know, we're getting ready to head out on our circumnavigation. It would be completely insane to not go ahead and get this oil out. And for this oil service, we're using authentic authorized Volvo Penta oil filter, and we're also using Volvo Penta engine oil, specifically certified for our diesel engine. In addition to getting that oil out of this engine, another thing we're going to be doing is changing the impeller. Now, the service manual for this Volvo Penta D275 engine says that the impeller should be changed every 24 months or 400 hours. Now, this impeller that's in our engine was changed at 628 hours. So it only has about 309 service hours on it, but for us, that's close enough to 400, so we're going to go ahead and get that out as a precautionary measure and put in a brand new Volvo Penta certified impeller. And the last thing we're going to be doing as part of this engine service here today is we're going to be replacing the air filter. And it's just one of those foam sleeve air filters, and we're going to take the one that's on the engine off, and I'm going to clean it. I'm going to replace it with a brand new one. I'm going to clean the one that's in there and keep it for a spare. I believe that the one that's on there is original since the engine was new, so it has probably about 937 hours on it. So I'm going to go ahead and put a brand new one on. I'll clean and keep the old one for backup and a spare. All right, y'all, so that's a rundown of what we're going to be doing on this engine service today. So y'all come on along, let's get with it. Now, after you're running your engine for a few minutes and getting your oil nice and warm, the next most important step is to get you a foam knee pad in place so you can kneel down inside your engine compartment without getting gimped up knees. Now, after you get your oil dipstick out, the next thing you want to do is place your oil extraction pump in a level place inside your engine room. Now, after that, what you want to do is get the appropriate sized extraction tube and slide it down into the oil dipstick reservoir tube. And then you pump and pump on that thing until all the oil is removed. After you get all that used oil out of your engine, the next thing you want to do is get your oil extractor out and wipe it down as you're bringing it out so you don't have drips of oil all inside the sole of your boat. Now when you get your new filter out, you want to take some oil and lubricate the rubber gasket seal on the new filter. Now when you're ready to take your old filter off, a little tip trick is take you a Ziploc bag and place it over your old filter and begin unscrewing it slowly, and this will help cut down on all that oil draining down into your engine bay and bilge. Cleaning up the excess oil after filter removal using this method is tons easier. Now before you put the new oil filter on, you want to wipe off all the excess oil, and it's very, very important that you want to make sure that the old rubber gasket seal came off with the old filter before putting on your new filter. Because the last thing you want to happen is to have two rubber gaskets stacked on top of each other underneath your filter. Then you spin your new oil filter on, only hand tight. You don't get no filter wrench and start torquing down on it, y'all. Hand tight. After you got your new filter on, then you're ready to remove the oil filler cap. Then you want to get you a funnel in place, and then you want to fill your engine with brand new oil. Now our Volvo Penta D275F holds 9.5 liters or 2.5 US gallons of oil. After you get your engine filled up with new oil, then you want to take your funnel out and wipe it down as you're taking it out so you don't drip oil all over your boat. And then you want to be sure and replace your oil filler cap. Now the next thing we do in our engine service is we replace the air filter. Now you start that by loosening the metal clamp at the top of the foam filter. So here we are in the engine compartment, and as usual I'm upside down and I'm working like a dog, getting paid like a puppy, but I'm going to get this oil air filter off here. Get this air filter off and get the new one on. And here we go. Then you take the foam filter assembly off, and then you take the metal clamp off of the foam filter. Now inside that foam filter, there's a metal spring that helps that foam filter keep its shape, keeps it from sucking together, and allows free airflow through that foam filter. After you get the metal spring out, you want to clean that metal spring, wipe it down real good. Then you want to place that metal spring into your new foam filter. Then after you get that metal spring down into the new foam filter, the next thing you want to do is take your metal clamp and put it back on the top of your foam filter. Now once you got your new foam filter assembled together, then you put it back in place and tighten the metal clamp back down. Now, the next thing we do in this service is we replace the impeller. Now, the first thing you want to do is identify your impeller housing, which on our Volvo Penta D275 diesel, it's in the lower left corner on the front side of the engine. Then you remove the screws on the impeller housing cover plate. Now, you want to have a bucket underneath the impeller housing to catch water as you remove the cover plate. Now once you get that impeller housing cover plate off, it's super important to note the orientation of the impeller rubber flanges. The reason is that it's super critical to put the new impeller back in with the same orientation and rotation of the rubber flanges. Next, you want to remove the black rubber O-ring from the impeller housing. Then it's time to use an impeller puller to pull out the old impeller. Now once you get your old impeller out, you want to inspect it for wear and cracks. Now in this case, ours was still in pretty good shape and I didn't find any tears or cracks or any obvious signs of wear, so I kept it as an emergency backup because it was still in pretty good shape. Now it's always good to have lots of spares because if you're out in the middle of the deep blue ocean and have an impeller failure, your old used impeller that's still in good shape could get you back to shore. Next thing you want to do is take you some WD-40 and a Scotch-Brite pad and clean any surface roughness or corrosion from inside the impeller housing cover. Now the next thing you want to do is take your Scotch-Brite pad and spray some WD-40 on it and gently clean the outer surface of your impeller housing. That way you make sure you don't have any leaks. The next thing you want to do is prepare the impeller housing by spreading a little bit of silicone O-ring lubricant inside the housing walls. Then you want to apply some of that silicone lube to the new O-ring. Next thing you want to do is apply lots of silicone lube to that new impeller. Now y'all, this is very important for a couple of reasons. One, it makes putting that new impeller in easier, but even more critical, when you first start the engine with that new impeller in there won't be any water inside the housing. So the first few spins of that brand new impeller will be dry if it's not really lubed up. Now spinning that brand new impeller you just put in dry could damage, weaken, or even tear the new impeller flanges. Now another little tip trick is you want to take a zip tie and wrap it around the new impeller. Now that helps compress the rubber flanges of that new impeller and make sliding it in with the proper orientation and rotation of the flanges so much easier. Now the next thing you want to do is replace the impeller housing cover and make sure that you do it with the same orientation that it was taken off with. And you want to replace the screws and tighten them down, but you want to be real careful not to over tighten them. Woo! Fire and save matches. We are DUN, and that is how you service a Volvo Penta D75F diesel engine in a sailboat, y'all. So if you like this video, y'all, you're probably gonna like the video we did last time on Sailing Tela Roof, where we did the complete haul out at Playboy Marine up in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. So y'all be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and we'll catch y'all next time on Sailing Tela Roof.
Next time on Sailing Tela Roof. What you say, boss man?
About ready to get these lines cast off, and then we'll be eastbound and down and Bahama bound.
We post brand new videos twice a week, so y'all be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe.